We've all been there. You walk into Costco for milk and walk out with a cart full of things you never planned to buy. But let's talk about the biggest temptation. That beautiful, shining deli section, whispering the promise of an easy dinner. No cooking, no cleanup. But how many times have you gotten that giant tray home, heated it up, and been met with a mushy, bland, or overwhelmingly salty disappointment? It's a trap for your wallet and your taste buds. So before you put that next tempting tray in your cart, stop. Today, we're pulling back the curtain. We've spent the time and money digging through countless reviews to bring you the definitive list of the 9 Costco-prepared meals you should absolutely avoid. Let's save each other from dinner-time disappointment. Kicking off our list at number 9 is a classic that seems like a no-brainer: the Caesar Salad Kit. It's huge, it's packed with dressing, croutons, and cheese, and it promises a quick and easy side dish for any meal. It looks like a healthy, convenient choice. But this is a perfect example of a convenience trap, where the time you save is often paid for with a sad, disappointing result. The number one problem, as reported by countless shoppers, is the quality of the greens. It's a total gamble. One day, you might get a perfectly fresh, crisp batch of romaine lettuce. But the next, you open the bag to find wilted, browning, slimy leaves that are already past their prime. There's nothing more frustrating than having to pick through a salad before you can even serve it. Beyond the lettuce, the other components can be a letdown too. The croutons, which should be crunchy and garlicky, are often soft and stale from sitting in the moist environment of the bag. The dressing is plentiful, but many find it to be a generic, overly creamy sauce that lacks the sharp, tangy punch of a great Caesar dressing. For around $10 to $12, the value is terrible if you end up throwing away half of the wilted lettuce. You're far better off buying a head of fresh romaine and a bottle of your favorite dressing. Coming in at number 8 is another item that looks healthy, hearty, and promising: the stuffed bell peppers. You get a tray of colorful bell peppers, generously stuffed with a mix of ground beef and rice, topped with cheese. It looks like a wonderful home-cooked meal that's ready to just heat and eat. The problem is, while it looks the part, it fails to deliver on both taste and texture. The biggest complaint is the filling. While it looks meaty, shoppers consistently report that it's mostly rice and other fillers, with very little actual ground beef. This makes the dish feel cheap and unsatisfying. The seasoning is also a major issue. The filling is often described as bland, under-seasoned, and lacking any of the rich, savory flavor you'd expect. But the real failure is in the execution. When you reheat the dish, the bell peppers themselves release a lot of water, turning what should be a firm, sweet pepper into a watery, mushy mess. One shopper summed it up perfectly. It was like eating a bland meat and rice slurry inside a soggy, boiled pepper. The texture was just awful. Priced by the pound, a tray can cost you $15 or more. For that price, you want a satisfying meal, not a mushy, bland disappointment. At number 7, we have a true icon of American comfort food that sadly gets lost in mass production: the meatloaf with mashed potatoes. This is a meal that promises a comforting, nostalgic experience. A huge loaf of savory meatloaf, a tangy glaze, and a mountain of creamy mashed potatoes. It should be the ultimate easy, satisfying dinner. But this is a classic comfort food imposter. The first issue is the meatloaf itself. Instead of being tender and juicy, it's often described as a dense, dry, and heavy brick of meat. It's been packed so tightly that it loses all of the delicate texture that makes a great homemade meatloaf so special. The ketchup-based glaze on top is also a point of criticism, with many finding it overly sweet and one-dimensional, tasting more like candy than a savory topping. The mashed potatoes that come with it don't fare much better. They are typically bland, gluey, and lack that rich, buttery flavor you crave. A large tray of this can cost over $20, which is a significant amount to pay for a meal that fails to deliver on its core promise of comfort. It might look like the meatloaf your mom used to make, but it sure doesn't taste like it. Next up, at number 6, we have another beloved American classic that should be an easy win but turns into a huge disappointment: the mac and cheese. Just look at this tray in the store. It's huge, it's golden, and it's practically bubbling with what looks like cheesy goodness. It screams cozy family dinner without any of the work. But there's a strange thing that almost everyone who tries it agrees on. It manages to be incredibly rich and greasy, yet somehow completely bland. It's loaded with a blend of 5 different cheeses, which sounds great, but it's missing the absolute basics: salt and pepper. It's like they forgot the most important part of seasoning. A popular theory online is that they take a shortcut. Instead of making a classic sharp cheese sauce from scratch, they supposedly use a pre-made Alfredo sauce as the base and just add more cheese on top. If that base sauce isn't well seasoned, the end result is going to be bland, no matter how much cheese you pile on. One review from a shopper hits the nail on the head. "My grandkids love mac and cheese, so I thought this would be an easy win." Wrong! It was a greasy, heavy brick of pasta with almost no real cheese flavor. I had to add a ton of salt, garlic powder, and sharp cheddar from my own fridge just to make it edible. When you have to work that hard to fix a prepared meal, it's just not worth it. Have you ever had to rescue a store-bought prepared meal by adding your own ingredients? What's your secret to fixing a bland dish? Let me know in the comments. Following a similar sad theme, at number 5, we have the chicken Alfredo. You get a 4-pound tray of pasta for a very reasonable price. It looks creamy, cheesy, and packed with chicken. It seems like the easiest way to feed a hungry family on a budget. But this is a true cautionary tale, a pasta tragedy. The sauce, just like the mac and cheese, is often described as both greasy and bland at the same time. But the bigger problem is the pasta itself. Pre-cooked pasta is almost impossible to reheat well, and this dish is a prime example. The noodles are almost always overcooked and turn into a mushy, gummy mess once you heat them up in the oven. But the biggest sin of all might be the chicken. It's supposed to be the star, but people consistently describe it as rubbery, tough, and chewy, as if it's been reheated one too many times. Worse still, some reviews mention a strange, almost chemical aftertaste, which is a word you never want to hear associated with your dinner. One shopper summed it up perfectly. "The sauce was like glue, and the chicken was so rubbery my kids wouldn't eat it. I should have just bought a rotisserie chicken and a box of pasta and made it myself in less time. Never again." Even though the price is low, the quality is even lower. At number 4, we have another comfort food classic that falls apart on execution: the shepherd's pie. On a cold day, what sounds better than a massive tray of savory meat and vegetables topped with creamy mashed potatoes? It looks like the perfect hearty meal to feed a whole family. But the dream falls apart with the first bite. This is a top-heavy disappointment. The mashed potato topping is usually the best part, but what's hiding underneath is the problem. The biggest complaint is the texture. The vegetables are often overcooked to the point of being mush, and the ground beef filling can be greasy and watery. On the flavor front, it's not much better. Many people find the filling has a strangely sweet taste, which is not what you expect from a savory pie. And for all the food purists out there, technically, this isn't even a shepherd's pie. A true shepherd's pie is made with lamb. A pie made with beef, like Costco's version, is called a cottage pie. It's a small detail, but for many, it speaks to a lack of attention to detail. But whether you call it shepherd's or cottage pie, the reviews point to the same conclusion: a mushy, strangely sweet filling under a grainy potato topping. It might be big, but big doesn't always mean better. Breaking into our top 3 worst offenders, at number 3, we have the seasoned St. Louis-style ribs. You see a massive 7-pound rack of ribs already seasoned for what seems like a great price per pound. You think, perfect, I'll just throw these on the grill and I'm a barbecue hero. It promises glory with almost no prep work. But this is a deal that is truly too good to be true. The first problem, and it's a big one, is that these ribs are often excessively fatty. Many people report that after hours of cooking, a huge portion of what they paid for is just inedible fat that has rendered off. That great price per pound suddenly doesn't feel like such a good deal when you realize you're paying for something you're just going to throw away. To add insult to injury, the seasoning itself gets terrible reviews. It's often described as being a one-note salt bomb, completely lacking any of the complex, smoky, or sweet flavors you want in a good rib rub. One reviewer put it perfectly: "I followed the instructions, and they came out tough. The seasoning was just a salt bomb. I couldn't taste anything else. I had to apologize to my guests. For a product that promises convenience, but delivers a fatty, salty, and often tough result, this is a definite skip. If you're still watching and finding these details valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave the number 3 in the comments below just to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'll consider subscribing and ringing that bell so you don't miss a thing. Your support is what allows us to keep creating helpful content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's get to the absolute worst. Now we're down to the final 2, the meals that commit the biggest sins against convenience food, wasting not just your money, but also your time. Our runner-up for the worst prepared meal at Costco, at number 2, is a true love-it-or-hate-it item: the chicken pot pie. You see this thing and you think, perfect for a big family dinner. It's over 5 pounds of what should be pure comfort. Rotisserie chicken, veggies, and a creamy sauce, all under a pie crust. But this is a soggy bottom heartbreaker. The first problem is the flavor lottery. People online either complain that it's overwhelmingly salty or that it's completely bland with no seasoning at all. There seems to be no happy medium. The filling is also often dense and dry, not creamy and luscious like a pot pie should be. But here's the real kicker: the detail that makes this a true avoid-at-all-costs item. For a meal that's supposed to save you time, it has to cook for 90 minutes, an hour and a half. In that amount of time, you could have easily made one from scratch that tastes a lot better. It completely defeats the whole purpose of buying a prepared meal. As one frustrated shopper said, "I bought this to save time on Christmas Eve." Big mistake. After waiting 90 minutes, the filling was incredibly salty, and the mountain of chicken was dense and dry. You wait an hour and a half for a pie that might be a salt bomb or a bland bomb with a dry filling. It's just not worth the time or the money. And finally, we've reached the last item on our list. The number 1 Costco prepared meal you should absolutely avoid is the quiche. A good quiche is a thing of beauty: a flaky, buttery crust and a delicate, light, creamy egg custard. It's an elegant and delicious meal. The Costco quiche is the exact opposite of that in every single way. It is the ultimate textural failure. This is a delicate dish that simply does not work as a mass-produced, pre-made meal designed to be reheated. The results are consistently disastrous. The number 1 complaint is the crust. It is always, without fail, soggy. Not just a little soft, but a wet, pasty, and completely unappealing mess. The second problem is the egg filling. Instead of a delicate custard, you get a filling that becomes rubbery, watery, and spongy when you reheat it. It's a culinary crime. One reviewer described it perfectly. The crust was a soggy, greasy mess, and the egg part was like a wet kitchen sponge. I took one bite and threw the rest away. Absolutely inedible. Typically sold in a 2-pack for around $15 to $18, it seems like a great deal for an elegant brunch or light dinner. But when the result is a dish with a texture that makes it almost impossible to eat, it's a total waste of money. This is one to avoid at all costs. And there you have it, our list of 9 prepared meals you might want to think twice about before putting in your cart. The goal here isn't to bash Costco. We love Costco. It's about helping you spend your hard-earned money wisely. If you enjoyed this journey, do me a huge favor and smash that like button. It really helps the channel out. And if you know a friend or family member who could use this advice, please share this video with them. It might just help them bring something truly special to their table. Of course, if you want more honest, in-depth reviews just like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that little notification bell so you never miss our next adventure. Thanks so much for watching.